no plan, no strategy, no message. That's a quote. That's how a Democratic lawmaker was describing the Democratic Senate vote with Republicans this weekend to fund the government with a Republican funding bill, averting a government shutdown. But there was virtually no fight and nothing achieved for Democratic priorities. This comes as our brand new CNN poll this morning shows that the Democratic Party's favorability is at an all-time low in this CNN poll. It's just 29%.
Let's start with the new polling that shows the Democratic Party has reached an all-time low in popularity. The latest NBC News national poll finds that a majority of registered voters, 55%, have a negative view of the party, while 27%, just over a quarter of registered voters, have a positive view of the party. That's the party's lowest rating in NBC News polling dating back to 1990. Meanwhile, though, a new CNN SSRS poll finds the Democratic Party's favorability rating at just 29%, a record low going back to 1992 and a drop of 20 points since January of 2021.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Just real quick, we're going to check out this poll. The polling data that's showing that Democrats are crazy unfavorable, even to their own voters, and that shouldn't surprise you very much at all. And I can't imagine why. Let's hear from one of the rising stars of the Democrat Party. I wonder why. It's almost like they they think the favorability is down because they're not fighting hard enough against Trump, is what the younger Democrats are saying. But I don't know, I kind of wager the opposite. It certainly doesn't have anything to do with the Democrats' full-blown civil war inside their own party. Definitely doesn't have anything to do with Chuck Schumer saying that the Republicans don't have the vote for their spending bill, and then he himself votes for that same spending bill, and then he gets absolutely destroyed by all the progressives in the party. Your favorability is super low for the first time since like 1990 or whatever they said. Whatever it was, it's that low because of Trump. Well, I think it is it because they're fighting Trump too much? Is it because they're not fighting Trump enough? Is it because they're fighting with each other all the time constantly? I don't know. Pick any of those things, and I think you're going to be pretty close to being correct. Let's hear the younger stars of the Democrat Party, like Jasmine Crockett, listen to Chuck Schumer's excuse for voting for the bill and why they're all fighting with each other. It's really a look at how ridiculous they are inside their own party. They don't even like each other. They don't like each other at all. Why would we like them?
Joining us now is a Congresswoman from Texas, Jasmine Crockett. Congresswoman, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate you squeezing us in before you go to church. This has been a rough 72 hours for Democrats. I want to play some of what Democratic Senate Leader Schumer told me on The Lead on Friday about his decision to vote with the Republicans to fund the government. Take a listen.
Thank you. I've got nothing for you on that.
Watching yourself back then, reassuring people that Biden...
For many, many reasons.
No one is above the...
You are pardoned.
As I said, I got nothing for you on that. Nope.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That was the wrong clip. I should edit that out. I'm sorry. Here's the right clip.
A government shutdown gives Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Doge almost complete power as to what to close down because they can decide what is an essential service. If they determine that SNAP, kids shouldn't get food, is not essential, they can just cut it out summarily. They could fire half the workers in the federal government. It would have been a far worse consequence.
So he's saying that the path that House Democrats wanted would have presented a worse consequence. Is he wrong?
He's absolutely wrong. I mean, look at the reality of the votes, right? I understand that the American people are frustrated. Please believe many of us did not sleep because we were calling and trying to impress upon the senators the importance of pushing back in this moment. And as you saw, we had all but one Democrat in the House that voted for this. So that's 212 Democrats in the House. And then you had the vast majority of senators vote for it or vote against it as well. And so the idea that Chuck Schumer is the only one that's got a brain in the room and the only one that can think through all of the pros and cons is absolutely ridiculous. And Jake, you and I both know that this administration could care less about whether or not they violate the law. We know that we've had to rely heavily upon the courts. And I want to say, as you're talking about the polling on my party, I want to say that it is the Democratic attorney generals and some governors that are standing up against this administration and bringing those lawsuits and winning every single time. They are losing in court. Could we do a better job of making sure that the American people know that we are winning in the courts? We probably could. But at the end of the day, it's still Democrats that are winning for the American people.
Luckily, Jasmine Crockett was able to take a brief moment from saving that bus with school children on it and that fire. She saved the little itty bitty orphan children, and she stopped for this interview to let us know how delusional she is about reality. Did you guys know Democrats are the only ones that are winning for the American people right now? Did you know that? That's why they're so favorable. Let's hear from their real leader, okay? Hakeem Jeffries. Remember when he said they had no plan and no options and no tools to fight the Republicans? Remember how great that was? Yeah, that's why they're so favorable. The Democrat leader, Hakeem Jeffries, is responding to a question about the Democrat brand basically being on trial in the American public with this ridiculously low favorability rating for the first time in decades. And here's his response and his pivot.
This is not about the Democratic brand. This is about the American people and the folks whose health care is under assault. I think that the politics of this will take care of itself, right? And it'll take care of itself as early as next year in the midterm elections. But right now, it's about stopping these extreme things from happening that are wildly inconsistent with what Donald Trump and Republicans were talking to the American people about last year. All last year, Donald Trump and Republicans were talking about they were going to drive down the high cost of living in the United States of America and rebuild the economy. Their words. And then they were running away from Project 2025 as if it didn't exist. This year, they've done nothing to improve the economy, nothing to drive down the high cost of living in the United States of America. We believe that the cost of living is too high and that we have to lower housing costs and child care costs and the cost of groceries and insurance costs and utility costs. We as Democrats want to work on that. Republicans have done nothing to improve the economy. In fact, costs aren't going down, they're going up. Inflation is going up.
Do you think maybe their favorability is so low not because they're not fighting Trump enough, but because they cannot acknowledge reality and just straight up statistics? Let me ask you a question. Now, we're going to talk about Hakeem Jeffries' view on the economy. Let me ask you something. Which number is bigger? Is the number 3? Is the number 3 bigger or smaller, higher or lower than the number 2.8? Do you know? Like, I love the psychology of watching his body reject the lie coming out of his mouth. Did you see he tried to say inflation's not coming down, it's going up, as he points downward because his body's like, that's a lie. I'm lying right now. And his body is screaming out that he's lying. Inflation average across the board last year was 3.15%. Last month, it was 3%. This month, it is 2.85 or 2.86%. Is it going up or is it going down? Let's hear from him. Let's go in the Wayback Machine to May 11th, 2022. And let's hear how he thinks the economy is going back then, with an inflation that was over 7 or 8% whenever he gave this interview. Just keep in mind, with the inflation rate at 2.8% right now, on its way down, and Donald Trump only being in office for 2 months, they're ready to say that the Republicans have failed to bring the cost of living down after their ridiculous spike of inflation during their time and all the decisions that they make. Remember, he's saying they make decisions to make the cost of living go down. That's what they do. Okay? He just said the economy is terrible now. Back in May of 2022, this is what he said.
Well,
As President Biden has indicated, we are going to work and focus like a laser beam on dealing with the inflationary pressures that the American people are experiencing in terms of food prices, certainly in terms of gas prices, and every other day-to-day kitchen table pocketbook issue that Democrats work on, Republicans talk about, but do nothing about. And as my grandmother used to say, the proof is in the pudding. And if you look at the Biden record on the economy, he inherited one that was on the brink of complete and total collapse, perhaps an economic circumstance worse than the Great Recession, had Democrats not acted decisively. But with President Biden's leadership, Speaker Pelosi, Leader Schumer, Judy Chu, Democrats on both sides of the Capitol, we acted decisively. We passed the American Rescue Plan. We saved the economy.
That is a lie.
See, I'm not really sure they have I'm not sure what their favorability issue is. I can tell you one thing. It would be favorable if they would participate in reality. That would be pretty cool. This is an example. They saved the economy, guys. Don't you know how Joe Biden took over a terrible depression riddled, it was just the worst. Trump gave him the worst economy ever. Look, you can see in the 2020 graph, you can see the big dip. That's when the pandemic happened to ruin Trump's uh, very successful first term. And the decisions he made, you could see the bump back up. You could see the increase there from the decisions they made, stimulus, that kind of thing. Obviously, the recovery was already in place. If you remember correctly, when Biden and the Democrats took over, Trump was ready to reopen everything. And the Democrats said, no, we can't reopen everything. We need to do the American Rescue Plan. Can you tell when the American Rescue Plan started to rescue us and save the economy? The yellow portion of that graph is when Biden took office. The decisions that the Democrats directly made, you know how he said they do things to fix everything? Those are the decisions that they made. When Hakeem Jeffries he just told you that after 7 weeks of Trump being in office, they haven't done enough to fix everything. And they were on the way of fixing things. When he did that interview, inflation at the time was at 8.6% when he gave that interview and claimed that they saved the economy. They saved the American working class. They saved us, guys. They say fuel was up 106% from the previous year, 2021, when they took office. How long were they going to blame Trump for their failures? All the decisions that they made is what increased the inflation. Their decisions made everything go through the roof. Then they've been trying to claw it all back for the last year because it was horrific. Everything was really bad. They were completely silent on the economy during the campaign. They said nothing bad about the economy. They said Bidenomics is working. Everything's totally fine, is what they said. Trump's in office for 7 weeks, and look what the Republicans are doing. They're not helping you people. They said they were going to help you. Look what they did. They're not doing anything. Everything's not fixed. They didn't save the economy like we did. I don't know. You guys tell me why their favorability is trash. Is it because they won't participate in reality? Is it because they're not doing they don't do anything, and when they do, you just saw the chart of when the Democrats are in power, what they do. They ruin us. They ruin everything. I'm done. All right, man. I'll see you guys on the next one. Look, man, I don't like begging, but I need you to do the things, man. I need you to press buttons. I need you to like the video. I need you to do that stuff. If you made it this far, please do. Please subscribe. Please. I don't like even saying those words, dude. But if people are gonna see the videos, I kind of need you to do that stuff. So if you like the stuff, I appreciate you watching it. Even the hate watchers, I appreciate your views. I appreciate your comments. And I need those impressions, those yummy, yummy impressions. All right, man. I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Please do tell me in the comments. Tell me why their favorability is in the tank for the first time in decades. Like rock bottom, bro. It's rock bottom, and I think I know why. See you soon.